Hi, and a big welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you the top 10 things you can see and do in Washington, D.C. As many of you probably already know, Washington is the most powerful city in America and the entire world. It is the seat of government in the United States and also the nation's capital. What many people don't realize is that it's also the most interesting and affordable places you can visit. As you can see from all the images on your screen, there are tons of things the city has to offer. There are monuments, parades, festivals, museums, historical sites, breathtaking views, powerful leaders, gardens, and much, much more. The best thing is that most of the attractions are absolutely free. I encourage you to watch this video all the way to the very end because there are going to be some bonus things that you can see and do. So let's get started right now by going to the first thing, which is the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress is the world's largest library. It houses an extensive collections of books, films, audio recording, and much, much more, including the first book printed in the United States and the largest collection of 15th century book in the Western Hemisphere. It's located behind the U.S. Capitol building. Coming here is absolutely free. You just have to make a reservation on your phone. As you can see from the images on your screen right now, it is one of the most ornate buildings you will ever find in Washington, D.C. It is architecturally a marvel and it is breathtaking, absolutely beautiful. Number 9 on my list is by far the largest. It's the United States Arboretum. It is a 446-acre research facility and public gardens. If you like gardens, this is absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. However, it is quite large, so make sure you bring your walking shoes. I strongly recommend, if you're thinking about coming here, that you rent a bicycle in order to be able to explore the entire facility. And the best thing about it is that there are bike rental locations right outside the United States Arboretum. You just have to bring your credit card. It was established back in 1927 and houses 7,000 different kinds of plants, including a special collection of azaleas. This is my first bonus item. No trip to Washington, D.C. will be complete without seeing the live, real Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and Magna Carta, and many, many important documents, and those can be found in the National Archives, which has free admission. Honorable mention number 2, which is right on the National Mall, is the United States Botanical Garden. It is absolutely free and it is the oldest continuous operated public gardens in the United States. And if you love flowers, it is absolutely beautiful and breathtaking, absolutely worth the visit, right next to the U.S. Capitol. Number 8 on the list is going to be the National Cathedral. It is one of the most stunning buildings in Washington, D.C. from the outside. It is the place of national importance because of its historical presidential funerals, prayer service, and many other events. The downside about coming to the National Cathedral is that it's not right on the National Mall. And most of the things I'm going to tell you in this tour is right there on the National Mall. But as you can see from the inside that you can enter for absolutely free. There are also tours for about $20 per person. It is stunning just to walk inside and see this magnificent structure. Number 7 on the list is the National Zoological Park. It is a fan favorite for kids, adults, and families alike because it really is fun for kids of all ages. The great thing about it is that also it is absolutely free. It's part of the Smithsonian collection and it is definitely worth your visit. If you plan to come to the zoo, there are 2 things you need to know. The first thing is that it is off the beaten path. That means it's not going to be on the National Mall, and you need to bring your walking shoes because it covers many, many acres. Number 6 on my list is not in Washington, D.C. However, it's a stone's throw away, right behind the Lincoln Memorial. It is Arlington National Cemetery, and it's the final resting ground for 400,000 veterans. There is no admission to get into the cemetery, and by far the biggest draw to the cemetery is going to be the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers that is guarded 24 hours, 7 days a week by guards, and they march and they have an ornate ceremony. It's absolutely must see. It's the changing of the guards. Number 5 on the list is going to be one of the most recognizable structures in Washington, D.C., and it's the Washington Monument. By far, it has the most breathtaking panoramic views of Washington, D.C. The only challenge is that you need tickets to get up to the monument. You can get them for free if you get there early enough, but I would strongly recommend you reserve them in advance. If you're planning a trip to Washington, D.C., this is going to be my first pro tip to you. Check the calendars to make sure that what kind of parades or festivals are happening during your visit. You may want to come during some of these parades and festivals like the Cherry Blossom Parade or the 4th of July or the Folk Festival. Many other events happen here, or you may want to avoid it because it's going to be a busy time. As you can see from all the images on my screen right now, there are tons of things that happen here every single year, and they draw thousands upon thousands of guests and visitors, not just locally but nationally and internationally too as well. But now is as good a time as any to help you understand the best way that you can support my channel, and is by simply doing one or two things. Either you can like or subscribe. By hitting the like button, it helps like-minded people just like you find my channel. Number 4 on the list is going to be the United States Supreme Court, located directly behind the United States Capitol building. And you can actually get free tickets if you come early enough and line up outside and see oral arguments. So it's absolutely worth it to check the calendar to see what's happening in the Supreme Court that day. We are progressing and making our way to the number 1 attraction, but first we're going to stop off at number 3, which is going to be the United States Capitol building. This building is absolutely stunning, and you can get free tours, and the tours last about maybe an hour and a half, and they take you around the entire Capitol building. Right now we're in the huge rotunda. When you see that huge dome, this is what it looks like on the inside. Not only do you get a tour, but you also get a person who brings you along and tells you all about what you're looking at. This is the old Senate building right here. It is absolutely stunning. If you were thinking that the White House was the top attraction to see in Washington, D.C., then you would be mistaken. It rounds out the list at number 2. The White House is located just off the National Mall. It is absolutely free to take as many pictures as you would like from the outside. However, getting inside and getting free tickets is going to be a little bit more challenging. Just contact your member of Congress and request tickets well in advance. Before we get to the number 1 thing that you can see and do in Washington, D.C., I just want to point out that Washington has tons of memorials, monuments that are scattered all throughout the DC metropolitan area. The good thing is that most of them are contained all on the National Mall area. That's the area between the U.S. Capitol building and the Lincoln Memorial. Between there, you can see so many different things that are absolutely free to the public, and they draw millions upon millions of guests each and every single year. Most of the monuments and memorials help us understand our past, either great leaders or wars that we have overcome, difficulties and challenges that the nation has endured over the course of its development. Here we are at long last at the number 1 thing that you can do in Washington, D.C., and it's this: visit the Smithsonian museums. There are a total of 21 museums that are scattered all throughout Washington, D.C. that you can see, and they are fantastic and fascinating. The greatest collection of museums in the entire world. Now, this video just outlined the top 10 things that you can do in Washington, D.C., and here's the big kicker. Everything in this video is absolutely free. There's absolutely no cost to any of them, to include any of the Smithsonian museums. Now, here's the big kicker. The Smithsonian museums, any one of them, the Air and Space Museum, the Natural History, the Art Museum, the African American History and Culture Museum, could be a top 10 item in and of itself. All 21 of these museums, again, the greatest collection of items and artifacts in the entire world. They number 157 million items to include artwork, artifacts, and specimens. Now, this was a quick rundown of things that you can see and do in Washington, D.C. However, if you want a more in-depth view, I recommend you go to my channel, because I go to all of these museums. I talk about the times, the entry, the difficulties, what you can see and experience. I go through great details with each one of these items. So definitely check out my channel for a more in-depth view. But I hope you enjoyed the top 10 things that you can see and do in Washington, D.C. Check out my channel for a lot more interesting items.